Throughout history, twins have inspired legends, sparked scientific debates, and fueled endless curiosity. Are their minds truly connected? Do they have their own language? How do they enjoy unique identities while sharing the identical DNA? From ancient myths to modern science, the world is fascinated by the secrets, the stories, and the surprises of twinhood. TwinTalk is a family-centered, honest wellness journey exploring the biology, the psychology, the mystery, and wonder of twins.
TwinTalk, two peas in a podcast. Co-hosts are Dr. Margot Lewis and Paul O'Sullivan. Executive producers are the O'Sullivan twins.
The doctoral program I attended with the hopes of being able to help twins, and that really became my passion. And so I wrote my dissertation on identity development in twins, all the different ways you can be a twin, the 5 different ways.
Hold your horses. Did she just say the 5 different ways to be a twin?
Biologically, there are 5 types of twins. This episode focuses on monozygotic twins, commonly referred to as identical twins. Identical twins are a result of a single fertilized egg, a zygote, splitting into 2 embryos. The result is 100% identical DNA, nearly indistinguishable appearance, though subtle differences, such as the fingerprints and birthmarks, exist. While the psychological dynamics often include sharing strong emotional bonds, research indicates identical twins have a higher risk of separation anxiety if raised apart.
I actually knew that I wanted to be a therapist from adolescence. As an identical twin, I was raised in a very small kind of community. There weren't a lot of twins when I was growing up, and it was hard for me to figure out who I was separate from my own twin. And I remember waking up one day, and just asking myself, who am I? And I think I was 16 years old. And at the time, I was confused, and my parents, sought help for me. But what was interesting was in the work I did with that person, they never brought up my twinship. They never brought up any issues related to being a twin. And so I really felt like they completely missed the boat there. And really, I didn't feel it was very helpful. So I went on through college and then to the doctoral program I attended with the hopes of being able to help twins. And that really became my passion. And so I wrote my dissertation on identity development in twins, all the different ways you can be a twin, the 5 different ways: fraternal, identical, and treatment guidelines for clinicians working with twins as patients. Because I felt it was really important to follow through on that commitment I had made as a teenager to provide some guidance for providers, knowing that it's such a unique developmental experience, and it is oftentimes kind of ignored or just not brought into the therapeutic space. Yeah. My parents did a good job trying to nurture our own individual interests. I was very artistic, so I took art classes, and I loved drama. So I did more drama and art and dance, and my sister was more sports, kind of athletic, interested. And growing up, we had very small class sizes. I was in the same class as my sister up until high school, but it was just a small girls' school. There was only 100 girls. But from the age of from first grade all the way through high school, my mom had an M monogrammed on my collar and a C monogrammed on her collar so the teachers could tell us apart. So it was interesting to have that that like that not a scarlet letter, but it was just, and it was fun to switch places and put the C on and she'd put the M on and we, switch places on teachers. And we went to a school with nuns who did not appreciate that. But particularly my mother had a sense of status about having twins, right? Identical twins, and felt she had us dressed in these beautiful matching Laura Ashley dresses and would love to kind of parade us around. And we were the only children in the family. So she was very proud. And, that I didn't realize until later in life that, being seen as this like, kind of phenomenon when we would go out in public or be like kind of almost like in the spotlight. People would stare at us because obviously we look alike, we dressed alike, and that's something I kind of got used to. This kind of weird tension on my sister and I, but never feeling like I was being seen as an individual in those situations, and wondering if people really knew me for me and not just as a twin. So that was hard. And I really don't think that started to resolve until we went to college. And we went to college at the same college. And it was a huge college. So, and we majored in different subject areas. So we had to take different classes. And I remember how incredibly scary that was. And I remember when it first hit me that I was in a situation where people really only knew me for me and not as a twin. And so it felt like this really weird, like glaring vulnerability, insecurity. I'm like, where is she? She's my backup. Like, in case I don't have this. So that was really kind of the start of me really being pushed into my discomfort zone, if that makes sense, but really a zone for me to grow, right? So, yeah.
Well, my experience as an identical twin is distinctly different than Dr. Lewis's. I'm the youngest of 8 children, 10 in the family, the final 2 children being identical twins, and I was born 4 minutes after Peter. I came home from the hospital a couple of days after him because I don't know that we were preemies, but I was too small. So to come home that day, and this is 1961. And I will say that I remember I had a growth spurt quicker than him in 6th grade. And for 1 year I was bigger than him, and so I beat him up as much as I could. Because, payback is a bitch. And then he got bigger than me, and then he beat me up more. And then we got to an impasse because we got so big that we could really hurt each other, and neither one of us really wanted to hurt each other. So we didn't stop fighting. We wouldn't punch in the face, stuff like that. Rules. Unsaid rules, but rules nonetheless. And they were, I don't know how they were enforced. They were just gentlemen agreements. All right. We had pretty much the same friends, not always. About, I would say 50% of our friends were mutual and 50% of our friends weren't. We had our own bedrooms. We had distinct identities, but we were identical. We were very similar, and in middle school, in high school, we both swam and played water polo. Our whole family are swimmers, so that is a family trait. Sometimes it's difficult to distinguish our twinness and twinhood from our big family, our very distinct, not unlike many families, our distinct cultural and family sort of traditions and just ways of being, just culturally, that particularly with a family of 8, where we had to go to, be quiet. We had to function as a family together and be harmonious. And we didn't choose all these brothers and sisters. We had to deal with them as they came along. And Peter and I were the smallest and littlest. I was funnier than Peter. I think everybody would agree to that. I was more charming. I'm more creative. He is more tenacious. He's more dogged. He's more regimented. He's more disciplined. I wouldn't say he's smarter because I think I have the edge on the creativity, but he has the edge on the sanity. Definitely. I resented that he was better than me. And then I came to the realization that he loves me and I love him, and that there is a quality about me that he needs too, that we're a mutual admiration society. And we learned that very late. I think. Or we knew it, but our ego wouldn't let us admit it. I felt inferior because I was smaller and less successful. I just haven't accomplished the things that he has. And that's just what is. But those are societal measurements, and they're not measurements of human worth. So you have to sort of get around value systems to look at, for twins, what their worth is to each other. And it's symbiotic. It's magical. It really is. It's an amazing place to be, is to be an identical twin. That I will tell you.
Well, we're seen as freaks of nature, and unfortunately we've been used for genetic comparisons because we are the perfect scientific kind of paradigm. And unfortunately, a lot of twin, in terms of the social aspects of twins and psychological aspects of twins, have been ignored until there's a lot of case studies. And in the 1950s, 60s, I believe there was more traction in terms of really understanding that experience and not just using us as genetic guinea pigs. And so I really found, I had to dig, but I found some literature about, twins and identity, which was ultimately what I wrote my dissertation on, identity development. Yeah.
Wow. TwinTalk, 2 peas in a podcast. Co-hosts are Dr. Margot Lewis and Paul O'Sullivan. Executive producers are the O'Sullivan twins.